But yes, people, your boy is back in effect. Look at that. Look at that. That was today. I spent £3.95 for 2 sales at 95 and for £95 worth of purchases. Boom. Your boy is back in full effect. Told you lot, people, slowly but surely. Imagine that. Imagine being able to acquire a customer for £3.95. That's what? That's like £2 a sale, you know. If only you could acquire a customer for that much. That'd be lovely. But yeah, people, slowly but surely, let's see if we can get 3 sales a day or even 5 sales a day. Again, it's all about this, yeah, little baby steps, innit? But yeah, it's mad because when I first set up my Google account, when I first started running my shopping campaign, I started spending way more than I was supposed to in the beginning, and that was my mistake. Basically, when you set up your campaign, you can set a maximized click, right? So you can set like a certain amount of money you're willing to spend per click in it, and that's your maximized click. So in my head, I had set 57p in it, but boy was I wrong. Instead of writing 57p, I wrote £57. So when I was checking my first couple of days, like, you know, checking the data and how much I spent, I was like, what? £2.50, £2.60 a click? Whoa, what is going on? But basically, yeah, I set it at £57 a click instead of 57p. So that was like, whoa. Luckily, I, you know, kept an eye on it and changed it. So then I obviously reduced it to about, I think it was 57p or something like that. And I basically got that information on Keyword Planner. And Keyword Planner is basically a tool that you use in your Google's ad account, and it basically tells you how much search volume a particular keyword has, and you use that information to basically put it into your like titles. So for example, let's say you were selling, I don't know, a bath mat, and you could see that fluffy bath mat had, I don't know, 20,000 searches a month. You would obviously write fluffy bath mat, but maybe that search term wasn't as high as soft bath mat, for example. Let's say soft bath mat had 100,000 searches a month. You would obviously put soft bath mat in your title, right? In your product description. So you go on Keyword Planner, get all to find out, you know, what search terms have the biggest search, and then you're also able to see as a rough idea of how much it costs for those particular keywords. So it'll tell you like the low end and the high end, and then it gives you an idea of, okay, I know I can, if I set a certain amount of money based on the information Keyword Planner, I'll be able to get some type of spend and bid, because essentially Google Ads, you're just bidding for you're bidding for your space on Google, right? So let's say you bet 57p and another marketer does 60p. They're obviously gonna win the what's the word I'm talking about, not the bid, win the auction, should we say, innit? So yeah, essentially that's what you're doing. Of course, everyone's got a daily budget or a daily budget of how much they're willing to spend. So eventually they might take all of the top search for a certain amount of time until obviously they spend their money, and then all the other marketers will kind of like follow through, right? The ones that obviously can't compete with that particular price. But everyone will slowly get a piece. But like, obviously the ones that spend more money and got a bigger budget are always going to have the biggest visibility, and they're always going to be on top of the search, right? On like the shopping ads. But anyways, to say that's how I was able to get the figure of 57p. It was like the rough estimate of how much to pay per click. So yeah, that also gives me an idea of how much clicks I can not afford. Yeah, how many clicks I can afford before I am unprofitable, for example, or until I go into break even. So for example, let's just say hypothetically, you're paying 50p a click, and your profit margin is £20. So you know, if my maths are right, 50 times 10 is 5, 10, 15, 20. So you know that you can you can spend 40 clicks. You know, the equivalent 40 clicks of 50p would be £20 before before you go into break even. Any more, you start losing money, right? So let's say you spend 20 clicks, that would obviously be £10. You know, obviously if I spend 20 clicks, I'll be profitable with £10, right? Let's just say that. Obviously any more than 40, you would blow out your 20 margin, and then you'd obviously go into a negative. So it's also a good idea to kind of know exactly how much clicks can I pay based on my marketing budget, based on my my acquisition costs, like based on my target, you know, how much I'm willing to pay for that customer. So it's good to use that information, so then you know exactly, okay, you know, how much I'm spending essentially to to bid on these keywords, to essentially, you know, convert those searches, I guess, into customers. But anyways, so yeah, did that, and then yeah, so like I said, first week blew my budget. No, not blew my budget. First week, yeah, was spending £2.50, £3 click, and that's crazy. Think about it, £2 a click now. Say your profit was £20, 10 clicks, boom, you're gone. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. However, what I did is obviously dropped it down to 57p. Didn't get obviously as much spend as I normally did, and that makes sense because, again, like I said, the people with a bigger budget are winning the bid. However, I still was slowly getting some clicks. I don't know if you remember, but I said I set £20 budget a day to give me £600 a month. Last month was kind of tough. Kind of wanted to just get the campaign running again. I think I said it before, but I know Google takes a little while to spend, so I was like, you know what, I probably won't spend the whole £600 a month. But it started to slowly spend. It was starting to spend around the £20 a day, and I started realizing actually, like, no, like this is probably not the best move right now financially. So what I did instead, I reduced my maximized click even more and dropped it from like the standard to like more the lower end now. And the reason I did that was because I knew that, you know, people are going to outbid me, and the more people outbid me, of course, the more the less people are going to click, the less money I'm going to spend, right? And that was kind of my way of like basically reducing my spend without closing my campaign. Because if you start, I don't know exactly completely how Google works, but I would have thought it would have been like Facebook. But normally, for example, Facebook, if you close your campaign, that's it. You got to start again. You got to you got to start fresh data. You know, go through the learning phase. I believe Google's probably similar, where with anything you need time for it to optimize. So if you stop a campaign and start again, I'm sure it will kind of restart. So I didn't want to do that because I've started spending already. As well, Google is saying if you spend £400 in ads, they'll give you another £400 for free. So I want to hit my £400 spend regardless, so then I could get £400 for free. I don't know what the T's and C's are, but supposedly that's what it is. So I'm not far, well, I'm not close, but I think I'm like 150 now. I spent 150, £160, so getting there, but I don't want to miss out on the extra £400 if I can. So again, that's another reason why I don't want to stop the campaign. I don't want to stop spending, but I just don't want to spend too much to a point where like it's impacting my personal life, right? But yeah, man, but happy with that. Two salespeople at 3.95. Let's see what happened yesterday. No, yesterday I didn't get nothing, yeah. Yesterday I didn't. Let's see what I spent this week. And this week I spent £43. I got about £190 in purchases. So not bad. That would be what, if my maths are right, 43 divided by 4. Let's just say, for the sake of it, yeah, about £10 something to acquire a customer per sale. So that's actually not bad, you know. Not bad. Again, like, of course I get it. Like, people that smash it on Google are the ones that have like high ticket products in it. Because let's say you're buying a product for £50 and you're selling it for like 150, right? You have £100 to play before you even go into break even. Of course, you're not going to spend £100, but do you get what I mean? That's a lot of clicks that you can spend on acquiring a customer. So that's why I get why people buy higher ticket products, and that's why with this kind of angle, with especially with Google, where like the customers are so warm and there's high intent, people are willing to spend a lot of money. That's why if you have a lot of money to acquire that customer, then like yeah man, like you could really win in this paid advertisement space. Of course, like there's got to be high search demand, right? But yeah. But yeah, man, not gonna lie, man. Getting there slowly. Let's see. Let's flip the Shopify dashboard. Yeah, not too bad. We got what 5 orders in the last 7 days, so £239 in sales. And then the last 8 orders so far, so £385 in the last in the last 2 weeks. So slowly getting there, people. Especially with the spend that we're spending, like we're spending peanuts on advertisement. We're spending peanuts. We're not even doing anything on Facebook. Literally just Google ads. So yeah, man, it is making me feel good in the sense where I'm like, yeah, Zach, like again, it's all about traffic. It's all about traffic. Like, look, that was what only 343 sessions. What is that? What's 343 sessions in the grand scheme of something? There's nothing, right? So this I know it's like, I know already, like if I can get some type of traction with a small amount of traffic coming to my website, imagine when there's like hundreds and hundreds a day, you know, of people visiting my website, you know. It's like, yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, man, that's this little update. Getting there slowly but surely. Happy because now I'm starting to sell on my own on Shopify instead of relying on Amazon and TikTok. Content creators, I had to message them, you know, like I was a bit like, I didn't want to, what do you lot think? Tell me in the comments. But most people got the products, like last week at Wednesday, Thursday latest, and it's Monday now, right? Is it wrong for me to contact them now and ask them, like, have you shot some content yet? I was hesitant about it, but then I was like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's like still like 5 days, isn't it? Like, I was like, oh, wait, maybe a week. But then I was like, no, really, like, the deal was, I'll send you a sample if you can shoot some content, right? So it's like, how I just don't want to get burnt again, because remember, like, I got burnt before, and I got aired, like, and I'm seeing a similar pattern where 2 creators, I messaged them to ask if they received the product. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot content in a day or 2. That was like 4 days ago. So it's like, at least don't tell me you're gonna do it and not do it, because now it's just like your word doesn't really mean anything, innit? So yeah, there's 2 people that were like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot content tomorrow, and that tomorrow was 4 days ago, right? So this is why I was like, you know, it's that I know you want to be the nice guy, but at the end of the day, like, business is business, innit? Like, you're doing an exchange of value right now. They get a product to shoot content with, that they can also join the affiliate program, and you can use content for your page, innit? So yeah, man, I just said, you know, I shook it off and I just messaged them. 2 of them supposedly, one has already made their video, so that's good. They're just waiting to do their voiceover. The second one is gonna shoot today, supposedly. The other lady, she didn't reply back. She opened my message, but she didn't reply back. But she could be busy or whatever. And then the other one hasn't replied back to me yet. But I'm going to give it by the end of the week. But what do you lot think? I think by the end of the week, like, I've sent everyone a message just to see if they've done it. But I'm not going to chase no one. But I'm just curious between now. By the end of the week, surely everything should be ready. What do you lot think? Remember, Wednesday. So that'd be what, a week and that'd be a week and a half basically, innit? It does make me think though, like, I know I'm trying to be cheap and trying to think, you know what, if I just send samples to people on TikTok, exchange for like cheap, authentic UGC style content. But at the end of the day, these lot are not creators. They don't really have a deadline. They might not feel obliged to because I'm not paying them. To get what I mean? And it just makes me think that it probably would have been different if I did pay them, right? It'd be a service I'd be paying for, right? However, at the same time, like I just thought, you know what? Surely I can get a half decent content for just the price of just the product cost, right? We'll see. I tried it last time. I got 3-4 pieces of content that was decent. So let's see if at least I can get, even if I get 3 out of the 5 that's decent content, I'll be happy. If we'll see anyway. We'll just have to see. But I might have to start visiting professionals now again, because yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping by the end of the week I got some like fresh content, because I need it on my page and I want to start running some Facebook ads. So yeah, we'll see. Again, in my head, I'm like, this is just like a little test for them as well, because essentially whoever's content's good, right? If their content's good, of course I'm going to be like, I've already said this in my head, I've got it in my notes, to then like give them more of a scripted, you know, more like creative direction on my end of what I want them to do. Do you get what I mean? Where now I'm like giving them kind of like some of the things I want, but I'm also giving them the creative freedom, where if I pay them now, I can be like, listen, here's the script, this is what I want you to say, this is what I'm looking for, boom, bam. To get what I mean? Like, here's 15 seconds of this, 30 seconds of this, 45 seconds of this, this is what I want. And do you get me? This is my deadline. Turn it over. Do you get what I mean? It's different when you're paying for it, right? So, yeah. We got to try, innit? This is a learning curve, innit? We got to try it. This is new. You never know, it might work. This process might work. It's just, I guess, it all depends on the creator, on the person. If they're on point or not, innit? I'm sure it's not going to work with everyone. But yeah. But yeah, that's it, people. Slowly but surely.